You didn't go looking for this. It came to you. Your uncle dies on a Wednesday. No funeral, no obituary. Just a lawyer's office, a metal folding chair, and a manila envelope slid across a desk. Inside, a key, a deed, and a handwritten note with an address. The lawyer says your uncle left you his business. You ask what kind of business. The lawyer looks at his watch. The kind you'll understand when you get there, he says. You drive to the address that evening. It's a cash checking and printing shop in a strip mall between a nail salon and a closed-down sandwich place. Metal bars on the windows. A faded sign. The kind of place you drive past but never actually see. The key works. Inside. 6 desks, 3 industrial printers, lamination equipment, a safe you don't have the combination to yet, and a filing cabinet full of folders with no names on them, just numbers. You sit in your uncle's chair. It still smells like him. You tell yourself you'll figure out what this place does and then decide whether to sell it. That's your plan. That plan lasts exactly 4 days. Level 2. The first customer and the 4th day, a man knocks. You weren't open. The sign still said closed. He knocks again anyway. You open the door. He's middle-aged. Clean jacket, calm eyes. He looks like someone's accountant. He says a name. Not his name. A number sequence. Like a code. Then he slides a folder through the gap in the door. Inside the folder, a photograph of a man, a name, a country of origin, and a list of what he needs. Driver's license, social security card, employment history. He needs a new identity, complete, clean, bulletproof. You start to say you don't do that. He slides an envelope through the gap before you finish the sentence. $15,000. Rubber banded. Used bills. He says he'll be back in 5 days. He walks away before you respond. You stand in the doorway holding $15,000 and a folder with a stranger's photo. You go back inside. You close the door. You start opening the filing cabinets. And slowly, methodically, you begin to understand exactly what your uncle built. Level 3. Learning the craft. The filing cabinets are a masterclass. Your uncle was meticulous. Every folder has a client number, a service type, and a method. Templates, sources, contacts, a handwritten ledger with initials and amounts going back 11 years. The operation has 3 categories. Identity documents. That's the flagship. New names, new histories, new lives for people who need to disappear. Financial paper trails, fake invoices, fake business records, documentation that makes dirty money look like it came from somewhere clean. Credentials. Degrees, licenses, certifications. Doctors who aren't doctors. Contractors who never trained. People who need a piece of paper that says they're something they're not. You spend 2 days reading everything. On day 3, you open the safe. The combination was in the note your uncle left. You just didn't realize it until now. Inside, $86,000 in cash. Contact numbers written on index cards. And a single photograph of your uncle shaking hands with a man in a suit you don't recognize. On the back of the photograph, your uncle's handwriting. If you're reading this, you already decided. You put the photograph down. The man with the folder comes back on day 5. You let him in. Level 4, you become operational. The first set of documents you produce takes you 9 hours. You make 3 mistakes. You fix them. The customer comes back. He examines everything under a light, holds each card at an angle, runs his thumb across the surfaces. He nods once. He leaves without a word. That nod is the most important moment of your life so far, and you won't understand that until much later. Word travels in this world without anyone advertising. Within 6 weeks, you have a rotation of 8 regular clients. None of them know each other. None of them know your name. Each one uses the code system your uncle built. You learn to manage the workflow, sourcing the blanks, calibrating the printers, understanding which laminates pass which tests, getting the microprint right, the holograms, the weight of the cardstock. You are not talented at this yet, but you are precise. And in this business, precision is everything. You hire one person, a woman named Reyes who found you through one of your uncle's index cards. She doesn't ask questions. She knows the equipment better than you do. She trains you. You pay her in cash. Every Friday. Always a little more than agreed. Loyalty, you've learned, is the only currency that doesn't depreciate. Level 5. The business grows. 6 months in, you clear $120,000. You tell yourself it's temporary, but you've started improving the operation. The strip mall shop is still the front. Legitimate services. You actually run it. Cash checking, notary, printing, real customers, real receipts. It makes about $4,000 a month legitimately. It makes 14 times that underneath. You bring in a second person to handle the financial documentation side. A former bank compliance officer who got fired for something he doesn't discuss. His work is extraordinary. He makes shell companies breathe. You start taking on institutional clients. Not individuals needing a new name. Organizations needing documentation infrastructure. Supply chain fraud. Insurance. Real estate paper trails. The money gets larger. The clients get quieter. The meetings get shorter. One evening you look at yourself in the bathroom mirror of the shop and realize you haven't thought about quitting in 3 months. You're not surviving anymore. You're operating. There's a difference. And you understand it completely now. Level 6. The network. You didn't build the network. Your uncle built it. You just inherited it. But inheritance comes with obligations. There are 3 other operations in 2 other cities that relied on your uncle as a supplier of blank stock and specialty materials. They've been waiting. Patiently. Professionally. You make contact. 2 of the meetings go smoothly. Businesslike. Respectful. The 3rd meeting is in a hotel conference room. Neutral ground. The man across from you is older, well-dressed, and has 2 people standing behind him who don't sit down. He looks at you for a long time. Then he says, "You're not your uncle." You say, "No." He says, "Are you better?" You think about the 9-hour first job, the 3 mistakes, the nod at the end. You say, "I will be." He considers that. Then he slides a USB drive across the table. It contains the specifications for a project larger than anything your uncle ever handled. Sovereign document infrastructure for a private organization operating across 4 countries. Ongoing, recurring, enormous. He says the number. You don't react. Inside, your entire nervous system fires at once. You pick up the USB drive. You say you'll be in touch in 72 hours. You drive home. You don't sleep that night. But not because you're afraid. Because you're calculating. Level 7. Power has a weight. A year and a half in, you have a legitimate consulting firm registered in Delaware. That's the umbrella. 3 layers of LLC between you and any individual transaction. You have 4 people who work in the actual operation. None of them know the full picture. Each one sees only their piece. You move between 3 cities every 2 weeks. Different hotels. Prepaid cards for expenses. You do not use your real name in any professional context. You've started to think about your own exit strategy the way architects think about buildings, from the foundation up. But something else is happening underneath the money and the systems. You've started receiving requests you didn't receive before. Not document fraud. Something heavier. A client needs a background erased. Not a new identity created. An existing one destroyed. Criminal records, civil records, employment history, all of it. Gone. You know what kind of person pays for that? You do it anyway. A different client needs certification documents for a medical practice. You know what that means. You do it anyway. And afterward, you sit alone in a hotel room in a city you can barely name and you ask yourself the question you've been avoiding. When did the line stop being a line? When did it become just a direction you used to face? Level 8. Someone is watching. The first sign is small. A car you've seen before in a city where you shouldn't see the same car twice. You note it. You don't react. The second sign is a phone call to the strip mall shop. Wrong number. But the hesitation before the hang-up is 2 seconds too long. The third sign is Reyes. She comes to you on a Thursday. Quiet. Careful. She says someone came by the shop asking about printing services. Asked very specific questions, knew very specific terminology. She says she's not sure they were a customer. You close the shop for a week. You run an audit. Everything clean. But you contact the man from the hotel conference room. You use the protocol. He responds in 24 hours. He says the weather in your city has been noted. He says 2 of his associated operations have received similar attention in the last month. He says he believes there is a federal task force that has been building a case for somewhere between 8 and 18 months. He says this professionally. Calmly. Like a man reading a weather report. And then he says something that changes everything. He says your uncle didn't die of natural causes. Level 9. What your uncle knew. The lawyer won't meet you in his office. He meets you in a parking structure. Level 4. Middle of the afternoon. You ask him directly. He doesn't deny it. Your uncle had been approached by federal investigators 6 months before he died. He was given an option. Cooperate. Give names, methods, clients. In